This is the coolest Makita tool ever. Literally. What's up everyone? Today we have a tool that really should have been done a few months ago for this part of the world because it's the end of summer here, but I know for a lot of you, you're just about to come into summer, so this may be of use to you. When the 18x2 version of this tool came out, do we call it a tool? Is it a tool? When this came out in the 18x2, so many of you wanted me to review it, and I didn't bother because I knew the 40 volt one was on the way, and it's basically the 18 volt one as well, so what's the point, you know? Hang out, get the XGT version, because this runs on LXT batteries and XGT batteries. So now you basically don't need the previous version. This one supersedes it, and yeah, you might as well grab this one instead of the 18 volt one if you're on the 18 volt platform, because if you ever upgrade to XGT, you're already sorted. It is of course the CW001G cordless cooler and warmer box. That's what's printed on the box that it came in. In this part of the world it would be called a chili bin, over the ditch it'd be called an esky, and I'm sure the rest of you have all got different names for it where you live. The first thing you notice when you take this thing out of the box is it's pretty darn heavy. It's over 12 kgs, so why is it so heavy? Well, maybe it comes down to the way that it's cooled. I know a lot of you want to know what it is. Is it evaporative? Has it got a compressor in it? Well, it is a compressor. And if you're into these sort of things and you really want to know, it's R1234YF refrigerant, and it has 26 grams of it. What's a good amount of that? It's also not a great tool to review on a benchtop. So she may be heavy, but never fear, it does come with a shoulder strap, but when this thing's loaded up, it's going to be super heavy. So it's got wheels down this end and a handle that folds away on the end. Now, because one particular country uses different measurements for absolutely everything that they measure, it makes my life really annoying because I'm going to say a whole lot of numbers and some of you aren't going to know what they mean. But hey, you guys choose to use the wrong sort of measurements for every single thing. Volume, liquid, distance, you know, everything. Apart from your money. You got your money, right? That's decimalized. Anyway, some of the numbers may be missing if you're in that part of the world. This is a 20 litre cooler, chiller, warmer, does everything. That's 5.4 gallons, and it runs on batteries or power. So you get a power adapter, you also get a power adapter to run on a cigarette lighter to run in your vehicle, and you also get a shoulder strap. Having a look in the area here for your batteries, you'll see two 40 volt stations, an 18 there and another 18 here. So you can't put both battery systems in at the same time because the 40s will block out the 18s and vice versa. Even though it's got two of each, it only needs one battery to run. If you put two batteries in there, it'll deplete one and then it'll jump over and deplete the other, giving you maximum runtime. Over here we also have a USB port, so that's cool. While you're having a drink, you can charge up your phone. There's 2.4 amp output on that, so that's quite good. Thing is though, you can't, when this is shut, your USB cable cannot get out. So yeah, so you have to either have the lid open or have your phone jammed in there somehow. On the top of that lid you can see a couple of beverage holders. This one is pretty sturdy, you could probably sit on that. I won't recommend sitting on it though. So 20 litres, how many cans can we fit in there? Or stubbies or other bottles, we'll find out in a moment. But we'll just take a look at the most important feature now, which is of course the beer bottle opener. Fantastic. This is where you control the unit from, but before we chuck a battery in it and turn it on, I'll give you some numbers on the cooling and, remember, heating of this particular unit. Now it mostly goes up in 5-degree increments, and that's if we're working in Celsius, which I am. So it starts off at a coldest temperature of -18 degrees Celsius. -18, you can freeze stuff good and proper in this thing. It then jumps to -15 and we go up in 5-degree increments until we get to 10 degrees Celsius, which is 50 Fahrenheit. -18 Celsius is 0 Fahrenheit. Then in the heating mode, it starts off at 30 degrees Celsius and goes up in 5-degree increments up to 60 degrees Celsius, or 85 Fahrenheit up to 140 Fahrenheit. So if you want anything at a temperature between 10 and 30, you're shit out of luck. But why would you? Before we fill this thing up with cans, I want to see what the temperature is inside this thing. It's currently 21.5 degrees in here according to my little thermometer. Let's just take a look in here. We are looking at, yeah, around the 21 degrees, a little bit below. So we'll load that up with cans. I'll actually test the temperature of the cans too, because the box of cans I've got to put in this thing's been sitting out in the driveway for a little while now, so it's going to be a bit toasty. So it'll be a good test to see how long it takes this thing to chill these cans down. Now I was talking with someone who's got one of these the other day, and they take it to work every day, and 5 degrees Celsius is what he has it at, and he says that chills things down brilliantly. Gave me a drink out of it, sure enough, ice cold, lovely. So what I'm going to do, chuck these warm cans in there, we'll see how many we can fit in there. I'll put it on, we'll stick it on 5 degrees, we'll come back in half an hour, see how cold the cans are, take out the cans in the middle and the outside, see which ones are the coolest, warmest, blah-de-blah. Yeah, and then we'll go from there and do a runtime test based on whichever battery I kind of decide to put in there. What's it gonna be? And there's another cool feature I want to show you, but we need to wait till we've filled it up and turned off the lights. And if you want one, take a look down in the description. I'll put a link to Handy Hardware, that's where I got this one from, and I'll put links to other places in the world as well if I can find them. It's got hand grips on the sides at the top, and it's also got grips at the bottom on the front and the back. Right, I've moved location for this test, and as you can see the inside reading at about 22 degrees. So I'm now going to see how many 330ml cans I can jam in there. Well, at least 18. And these are the cans, as I said, have been sitting outside. You can see a hot spot there. It's 25 degrees on the top there. So it's pretty warm, those cans, and they've got to get down to 5. So they've got to go down 20 degrees Celsius. They say 30, I think, in the manual, and it would probably take 30 if I didn't have these in the box, because they're not getting hard up against the side. We could maybe wiggle these a bit more, get another couple of cans in, but get a couple of dozen cans in there, no worries. Right, I've decided to start with a 2.5 amp hour battery because I don't want to be here forever. That should run for, I think, about 7 hours. So, but let's see. Right, we're on 60 degrees straight off. We don't want that, do we? So we're on heating. Can you see what's going on in here? You shouldn't also turn it on and off, because remember it's a compressor in this thing. So don't turn it on and off, leave it 5 minutes at least in between. Setting -18, so we're on cool now. So this jumps between hot and cold. Once we're on cold, we want to go up to 5 degrees. It'll flash for a few seconds and then it will be set. It's got a battery indicator here, as you can see. It's saying it's currently on 18 degrees. Let's shut it down. I don't know if you can hear it, but I've just heard a compressor kick in. Sounds like a little bar fridge. Sounds like my fridge around the corner. Away she goes. What am I going to do for half an hour? I know, I can test the most important feature. Does it work? Oh, not the greatest. Yeah, seen better bottle openers. We'll give that half an hour. This battery should conk out, well, I'll time it, because we've got to keep Makita honest. There's a manual, of course, with all the numbers in it for how long things last, but can't just go by that. So I will see what this is like in half an hour from now, and hopefully I'll still be awake when the battery conks out, and we'll see how long it is. I'll set some timers. For you, it's only going to be a few seconds. Probably be like right now. Okay, we are at 34 minutes. We've gone over by a few minutes. We're down to 10 degrees, so it's dropped 8 degrees in just over half an hour. Let's take a look inside and just see what the temperature is of our Coca-Colas. Disclaimer, this video is not sponsored by Coca-Cola. Bottom of that can's down to about 12 degrees. Let's take a look at one at the bottom. And some weird looking lines going on there. Woohoo! Psychedelic. Bottom of that can is about 9 degrees. So it's cooled down pretty good. I'm happy with that so far. Let's leave it for another, I don't know how long. Whenever I remember. We'll come down once it's hit 5 and we'll see how cold our cans are. Just about to start recording to to tell you it hasn't got down to temperature yet after, how long are we talking here? 2 hours and 9 minutes, and it's just cut out and given me an F2 error code presumably, which, look at that, the battery flat already after just over 2 hours. Now that's a 2.5 amp hour battery, the equivalent of a 1.5 amp hour 18 volt battery. I'm a little confused. This should have lasted 7 hours. Why has it only lasted 2? Do you need 2 of them in there at the same time to get the maximum sort of oomph out of these things? Never got down to 5 degrees either. Got down, it was on 8 just before it changed to that F2 symbol. Sort of, the compressor doesn't run all the time, so it runs for 5 minutes or something and then cuts out and has a rest and then runs again. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. I'm extremely disappointed actually, because those run times are with an ambient temperature of 30 degrees Celsius, and it's nowhere near that. We're sort of about 9 degrees less than that, and still didn't cut it. And how cold the drinks are. Probably about 7 degrees on the side there. Let's take one of those out. Oh, that one's cold. That is chilly. Down the bottom, 5.7 degrees, right on the base. So around the 5 degree mark, right on the bottom of the chiller, which looks like the point where it's chilling from, maybe. It's a little bit hard to tell. I don't know how much is going around the outside of this. If you've got an evaporative cooler, you normally have sort of a plate that chills and the rest of it doesn't get cold. It all starts at one point and goes around. This, I'm not so sure. It feels cold. Feels cold all the way around. Yeah. So presumably because it's more like a conventional fridge, it has better chilling. But battery wise, gonna have to try something else. Maybe it flicks between the 2 batteries somehow. Well, it's too late in the day now to try it again. I'll try it tomorrow and see how she goes. Right, I got 2 batteries here of the same vintage. They have both just come off the charger. I am going to set this to 10 degrees, and in theory 21 hours you get out of those 2 batteries. 21 hours. Let's see if we get anywhere near that. Let's see what this is on. So that's what I've set it to, 10. That'll stop flashing in a moment. And 14 degrees is what the temperature is inside here. So it only has to go down 4 degrees and then sit at 10. Let's see if it can do it. 21 hours, you know, when I get up in the morning, those batteries should only be sort of half dead. Let's see if that's the case. Next morning, it's been about 13 hours now, and one battery, as you can see, looks like it's completely flat, and the other one still fully charged, so it's either just kicked over or about to kick over from one to the other, I'm guessing. I had it set to 10 degrees, if you do recall, and it's currently running on 9 degrees. So, happy with that. I'll pull out a can and see how cold it is, eh? Okay, so the lid is about 17 degrees. Who cares? Inside, what have we got there? Looking about 11 degrees at the top here. And let's get a can from down the bottom. Take a wee look-see. Okay, the temperature points on this can are fluctuating all over the place, but it looks like about 11 degrees at the bottom. Feels pretty cold. Feels colder than 10 degrees, to be honest. Can you see the little light down here, which is the feature I was going to show you in the dark, haven't gotten around to. It doesn't stay on all the time, so don't worry about it flattening your batteries. If you lift the lid and just take a little peek, it's not on until, oh, you can see it just kicking on and off. Yeah, just like your fridge. It's like magic. Okay, so in theory, this should make it until, let me do some maths here. I put it on at 7 o'clock last night. It's now 8 o'clock the following morning. That's our 13 hours. And it should supposedly go for 21 hours. But I'm guessing that is when it's already starting at the base level of 10 degrees. Whereas this started at 14, if I do recall. So if I got another half a dozen hours out of it, I'd be fairly happy. Fluctuating between 9 and 10 degrees there at the moment. So I'll leave it until, well, I'll keep checking in on it throughout the day. But hopefully it would get to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Best case scenario, it gets to that 21 hour mark, which would be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, check in again later. Well, another 4 hours have passed. It's just after 12 o'clock and it's still showing 2 bars on the one battery there, and 8 degrees. It's mostly been on 8 and 7 when I've walked past and looked at it. It's very rarely been on 10, so it's keeping it just below the setting of 10 degrees, which would basically, I guess, probably make it about 10 degrees inside the cans of Coke. It's just past 2 o'clock and that was the time I said I'd be happy for it to get to. Still showing the 1 bar there, 8 degrees, staying below that 10 degrees. So, can it make it to 4 o'clock? Oh, I doubt it'll make it that far, but we'll see. After 3 o'clock now and she's still going. It did it. It's made it the full 21 hours. I am impressed. So, I don't know what happened with that first bloody 40 volt battery. As soon as this dies, we're going to chuck in a couple of 4 amp hour batteries that are over on the charger over there, and we're going to chuck them on here and see how well she does with the heating function. That's actually pretty cold. I'd be happy with drinking that. Don't need to go to 5 degrees. Here I was thinking 5 would be optimum, but well, that's alright. 8 degrees, all good. So seeing as we had done our 21 hours, I've just taken out the dead 18 volt battery that was in there and chucked in a almost dead 40 volt battery just to see if it recognized both batteries from 2 different systems, and it looks like it does. It'd be good to have this told you which battery it was taking it from so that you sort of knew which one you could pull out, because I had to like take a guess which one was the flat one. Anyway, the top one there is the back one on the 18 volt, and yeah, I guess it's the same here. So these two, 18 and 40, are the top one, 18 and 40 there are the bottom one. And it'll use the top one first, so I'm guessing if I stuck that in, it's then kicked over onto the 40 instead of the 18. So I'll take that back out, see how long she lasts. Mind you, I've got to go off and do some other things now. Wasn't expecting it to last this long. Another hour has passed, we're up to 22 hours. How long's it gonna go? It's just clocked over 23 hours. 1 more hour to go. Can it do it? Can it get to 24 hours? I'm guessing it's lasting longer because the ambient temperature is lower than what they state in the manual. The manual, it states it at 30 degrees Celsius, whereas it's only been around 21 in here today. So I'm guessing that's why we've got a few extra hours out of this thing. This last battery seems to be taking forever to go down. It's been on 1 bar for hours and hours. It's got good solid hinges on it. Okay, it's the following morning and I'm interested to see just how cold this thing sort of is on the inside. It is 19.2 degrees in here, Celsius of course. So I'm going to chuck in 2 4 amp hour batteries now on the 40 volt system, and we are going to heat this thing up. But first I just want to see how cool it is, what it's maintained at. Holy moly, still says it's 10 degrees in there. So overnight, those cans have maintained that temperature. That's amazing. It got down to about 8 degrees, so it's only changed 2 degrees in, what are we talking, 12 hours? Just under 12 hours. Yeah, that's perfectly cold and drinkable. Now we are going to change this to heat, and we want to up it to full whack, 60 degrees Celsius. And put this inside. How long is it going to take to get from 10 degrees to 60 degrees? And how much battery is that going to go through? It's been half an hour, we're at 42 degrees. Oh yeah, toasted in there. Let's take a look at this. It's saying 39.5. 37% humidity. It's just going to raise up the thermometer, put it on a block of wood, see if it makes any difference. Leave it for another whatever. Right, we've been running for an hour and a half now. We're at 60 degrees. I'm not sure exactly when it turned into 60 degrees, but we're 1 bar down on a battery here. So let's see if it's the back one. Yep, back one reading only 2 bars now. Front one still full. Meant to go for 7 hours at 60 degrees on the 40 volt 4 amp hour batteries. That's if the ambient temperature is 0 degrees freezing in Celsius, which I'm never going to be doing that, but anyway. So in theory, with it being about 20 odd degrees in here, it should stay for like 8 or 9 hours. Anyway, let's have a look at the actual temperature in here. It's gotten too hot for the screen. The screen has shit itself. Damn. It's weird because I've had this over 60 degrees before. So it's now saying, after me shaking it around out here, cooling it down a little bit, 56 degrees. So it was probably at 60 before I had to spend a minute shaking it to get it to, yeah, temperature's dropping quick now. So it definitely heats up, good and proper. How long will it last? Like I say, it's been about an hour and 45 minutes now. If that battery's down too, if that got another hour and 45, that'd be what, 3.5 hours? Another 3.5 hours, that one would be 7. So yeah, that's looking about right. But can I be bothered waiting for this to heat up and run for that long? I've got other things to do. I'd rather use this thing for cooling. I don't think I'll use it much for heating. It's more of a go camping, chili bins sort of thing. You lived in the outback of Australia, the 60 degree one's not going to be much use for you, but the chilling definitely would. Now you've got a filter on the front here, as you can see. You can take that out, clean it out. Pops off nice and easy. And just pops back in like so. What else do you need to know? Here's where you plug her in. If I was taking this camping or out for the day at the beach or whatever, I would chill it right down to like -18 first. And at -18, you know, that's a freezer. I mean, our freezer is only, I run it at -15, so you can get this thing super cold. You can freeze food in it or keep frozen food frozen. If you were at a campsite with power, then you could plug this thing in, use it as your freezer or use it as your beer chiller, whatever you want. Or if you're going to get takeaways and you live a little bit too far away, you could chuck it in heat mode, stick them in there, they'll still be nice and toasty when you get home. So that's pretty sweet, I guess. Is there anything more I need to tell you about this thing? This has had quite a good workout in the last 48 hours, and I have to say it's not the greatest bottle opener in the world. It's nice and warm at the moment. But I suppose if you're flat out on the beach, laying on your back, you can lean across and still knock the scab off one. So yeah, if I was going to the beach, plug it in first, get it right down cold, maybe even right down into the -18 sort of region, and then fill it up with my drinks out of the fridge, then chuck the batteries in, and should last you plenty of time then. If you've already got this thing chilled down, the battery should last a hell of a lot longer. But I don't know how much more of this watching batteries deplete and temperatures fluctuate that you want to watch, because it's, yeah, maybe it's slightly more interesting than paint drying, but probably not a lot. So I think we might wrap this thing up, eh? Make sure if you go to buy one, you get one with XGT written on the top here. It's got LXT and XGT written there. That way you're future-proofed. If you're on the 18 volt system, you can still use 40 volt batteries in the future. So I haven't got an 8 amp hour battery to test whether that fits in here or not, but it looks like it probably will. It's not in the manual, but this was made before the 8 amp hour batteries obviously were thought about. Suppose I better check the USB here. Let's take a wee look-see. Is it going to work? There we go, we're charging. So if you are going to charge, you either have to leave the lid open because there's nowhere for this to go, or you can jam it in there. Probably just sit it on the top actually of the batteries, any old way you like. So it fits alright. You had 2 8 amp hour batteries in there, it might be a bit tight. So stick it on the top like that. Oh yeah, it fits okay like that. Going to use a little bit more of your battery of course, but not a huge amount for a phone charger. Oh, I haven't checked the tilt feature yet. If you tip this thing forward, back, side to side too much, it will cut out. So let's see if we can test that here. This nice confined space. I tilt it forward. It's going to happen. Okay, beeps at you. It's got 4 rubbery feet on the bottom, which you'll no doubt wear out on the sand when you're dragging around on the beach. What have we got here? A little bung hole, have we? Very tight bung hole. Although there is no drain hole on the inside of the chiller box, so don't go filling that up with ice or water or anything, as is indicated by the little label on the underside of the lid. I'll give you some of the run times here. If you're running it on 2 5 amp hour 40 volt batteries, you're looking at 10 hours according to this, -18, and 36 hours at 10 degrees, or 18.5 hours at 30 degrees, and 8.5 hours at 60 degrees. You're running 2 6 amp hour batteries on the 18 volt platform, you're looking at 6.5 hours at -18, and 25.5 at 10 degrees. and heating it up to 60, you're looking at 5.5 hours. Running the 2.5 amp hour 40 volt batteries, 5 hours at -18, 18 hours at 10 degrees, 4.5 at 60. Remember, times are going to vary greatly depending on how many times you open and close this thing while you're using it. And you know, if you leave it open for a minute, well, you're going to lose so much heat or coolness, whatever you're doing. If you've got it sitting in the sun like this, it's going to need more power to keep it cool, less to keep it hot, that sort of thing. And if we look at the screen here, can you even see it? It is going, but yeah, really hard to see when you're in the sun. That's some of the numbers. I'm not going to read them all out because there is a ton of them. And to be honest, I want to get back to reviewing real tools. I know a lot of you wanted to see this, the CW001G 40 volt cooler warmer box, but I've got plenty of other tools to review, and so I'm going to go get stuck into those again. So thanks for watching again, guys. Have a happy Easter. Happy Easter? Yeah, that's what people say, happy Easter? I suppose they do. So it hasn't been an Easter for the last couple of years, I've forgotten. That 40 volt 2.5 amp hour battery trying to cool at the beginning of the video seemed to be a bit of an anomaly. Haven't had one as bad as that since. The battery maybe wasn't quite as charged as I thought it was. Plus we were trying to get it down from, what was it, 18 degrees down to 5, which is quite a bit of effort. Like I say, plug it in first, chill it down, then chuck the batteries in. Anyway, thanks for watching. Get out there over Easter, do some camping, do some fishing, do some drinking, do whatever you want to do, and I'll see you on another video after Easter. Cheers, guys. I need to chill this thing back down again. Charge up some more batteries.